Hi, my name is Jerry Wakori.
Hi, my name is Pearl.
Hey, my name is Osi Eze, and this is
This is my side. Well, sickle cell, you're born with it, but my first memory I have of knowing like something's wrong with me, my dad and I came to America like 1997, New York. They brought me to a sickle cell clinic out there, and I had the worst crisis of like my childhood. And I remember it, and it's a core memory because I think it was so bad where everything hurt, like from the top of my head to my feet hurt. And I was praying to die. Now it's just like, this cannot be my life. Mind you, I'm like 6, and I was just in excruciating pain. And I knew that I didn't want to live the rest of my life being in that kind of pain.
So I'm a victim of losing someone to sickle cell with my sister Ketch. She left us January 2018. And for as long as I can remember, growing up, all I knew was that she was sick and she went to the hospital a lot.
I love you. My money, my body, now your own. Oh, baby. 30 billion for you.
I didn't really grasp the concept of what sickle cell was until I got a little older, maybe like 5th grade, middle school, whatever the case may be. That's when I found out she had sickle cell disease, but I still didn't know how serious it was at the time.
I was about 5 years old when I first realized that I had sickle cell or the symptoms of sickle cell. I was definitely dealing with a lot of pain crises. As a child, I remember going to Texas Children's Hospital so many times and spending, endless days in the hospital. My parents come in to stay with me.
All right, so for work, I am a biology teacher. I also did Airbnb for a while. I currently co-host for a couple of people. Outside of work, I'm a vibe. I'm normal until I get sick. That includes working out, traveling, game nights, just enjoying my life.
For work, I'm an alternative administrator for a home health agency that is locally based here in Houston, Texas. I also do a little bit of real estate on the side. I have a studio that I was working on with a Airbnb, and I also do some investments.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Christina Dezewaha. I'm an internal medicine hospitalist in Memorial Hermann. So I take care of a lot of sickle cell patients, and I'm an advocate.
So I have basic knowledge of sickle cell disease. But can any one of you give us an explanation of what sickle cell is?
Okay, so the way I like to explain it to patients is that sickle cell disease is you have red blood cells that are round, like ovals, that go through your vessels. Blood provides oxygen to your different tissue. For whatever reason, and we can get into that, in sickle cell, your blood cells can become damaged and they kind of form like a crescent, like a half moon. And when they move through the vessels, they can get stuck and caught up in places. And when they get caught up in places, wherever this on the other side of where that blood needs to get is deprived of oxygen, and you start getting pain, cramping, the vessels are tightening, and that leads to that sickle cell pain crisis. A lot of people will ask, why do we have that sickling of the blood cells? And usually that's almost like an evolutionary thing where, for whatever reason, in African countries, you're more exposed to parasitic blood infections. So that was the body's way to cleanse the blood of these parasites. They would destroy themselves and cleanse. So it was needed at a point in time. Now, it's almost like a burden, it could seem like, when your cells are sickling and there's not any parasite or anything that needs to be cleansed. So then you have these sickle cell crises that seem like more of an annoying concept.
In order to have sickle cell, both of your parents have to at least carry the trait. From my knowledge, from witnessing, both of my parents did not have the disease, but of course, both of my parents had the trait in order for me to contract sickle cell.
August 30th, I went on a birthday trip to Jamaica, and I had a pain crisis. And y'all, it sucks because it's like you are not in control of your body. And I was fighting. When I mean, like, you're on a birthday trip, you're having a good time, but I was so cautious and so mindful. Okay, make sure I'm drinking, I'm hydrated. When everybody else is on the beach, okay, I'm gonna go sit down and take a nap. I was so cautious just from to get out the shower. And it's like, it's weird because it starts in your ankle. Like, this cold air hit my ankles. I was like, oh God, I'm about to get sick. And I'm praying, I take my medicine, I lay down, I wake up from my nap, and I'm in crisis. So initially, I try to hide it from my family because I'm in Jamaica. But I was in so much pain, and like he said, when you're out the country, y'all, Jamaica's like Africa. They will not treat you unless you pay. So they charged my card for everything, for the nurse coming to my room in the resort, from the ambulance ride, for the shot, the pain shot they gave me. It was so bad, and I was just like, I am 33, and this cannot be my life forever. So that was just last week. Came back to the U.S., spent 4 days in the hospital.
Hi, kitty. How are you? Not your IP pump going off.
I know. I think
It's not the same.
they caught me. I'm back in the prison. First time back since February. But hopefully I'll be out soon.
Dr. Woha, as an MD, what do you typically see in a hospital admission for patients admitted with sickle cell disease?
As far as what they're telling me they're experiencing?
Correct.
Mainly a lot of pain. Patients come in, and the first thing I see when I enter the room, sometimes depending on what the patient has gone through, could be vulnerability. It can be distrust. It could be a patient that's trying to decide how they can present what they're going through and get their needs met. And then just pain. I feel like the pain in sickle cell patients can be different than any pain that I see in other patients, because patients who deal with sickle cell are dealing with it, like you've heard, lifelong, and they're constantly having different experiences with different providers and having to explain themselves and what they're going through and having different experiences. So you could see it in their eyes a lot of times, because they're trying to determine almost how do I convey what I'm feeling to get the best treatment in this situation. You know, and I do the best I can, and I also try to educate my colleagues, and I just hope that all doctors are on the same page with addressing this very complex pain syndrome.
When I knew it was serious, my sister was in middle school. She was actually on the way to the 9th grade, and her crises were so bad, and it would make her so sick. She ended up having some issues, and she had to have brain surgery in the 8th grade going to her freshman year of college. So she lost all her hair and everything. It was crazy. Freshman year, bald-headed, just wild. But, like I said, she was a very strong individual. So, like, what that is?
True facts.
What that is? Look at the jerk. She would tell us we're in pain, but we don't know how much pain she really is in until, like, you really go in and study sickle cell and what it does to the body. So she would always have her blood transfusions every 3 or 4 weeks. And she just always did her best to try to just live her life like a normal being, you know what I'm saying? But it made it tough because dealing with a sibling that had sickle cell, we're so close in age, we was in school together, people used to tease her a lot of, trying to bully because, they would have the yellow eyes sometimes, so it was pretty difficult growing up, but, I ain't let nobody play with her because that's my dog, first of all. But as time went, she didn't have so many crises as she was before. She was getting older. She was dealing with a lot better, taking her medications and everything. It wasn't until we came back from a trip from Nigeria that January in 2018 where she ended up losing her life and losing her fight to sickle cell. And it affected us in a hard way because you never plan to live without a sibling or to lose somebody that close. Like, as we grow up, we know one day our parents may leave the earth before us, but a sibling was devastating. So it took a lot out of all of us, me and my siblings. I have a younger brother and an older sister as well. So
Outside of the 9 to 5, Jerry, I a part of a few different organizations. I get involved with UIU's Umu Igbo Unite. It's a Igbo cultural professional organization. I'm also a part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and also a part of a business fraternity, Alpha Kappa Psi Business Fraternity. And I try to just stay very involved in the community. I also like to travel as much as possible and, try to get into some socializing on the weekends.
Jerry, how has sickle cell affected your dating? And if you're dating or married, do you worry about passing it on to your offspring?
So yeah, every day, and with any person that I do possibly get involved with, I'm always thinking about that. I do not want to, I one thing I always say in my mind, or I reiterate, is that I'll never want to pass this pain to my worst enemy, because of just how inconvenient it occurs and how it happens. So I've been able to reflect. Surprisingly enough, it hasn't affected my dating in a negative way, for the most part. Every any individual that I was involved with has been very understanding and very accommodative, trying to help me wherever it is, whenever I have the need. I know that at first, and especially when I was younger, I kind of shelter away from kind of sharing about sickle cell initially. It would literally have to take some months or a crisis literally occurring before now they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, ta-da, you know, here's the other part of my life that you'd have to be able to deal with if we're gonna do this long term. So, you know, sounds kind of it. But I've gotten better about it as of late. Continuing to be more open about sharing it. And being surprised at a lot of the feedback, just seeing that a lot of people are able to relate and understand about sickle cell.
Most definitely. Pearl?
I'm sorry.
So I'm divorced, and I wouldn't say sickle cell played a part in me being divorced. Growing up, I was always concerned about having children who would have sickle cell. With that being said, my kids do have sickle cell trait because I have the full disease. With dating after divorce, it's interesting. But I will say, because I advocate and I share it heavily on my social media, once that person adds me on Instagram, they know I have sickle cell. Because I post it, I talk about it, it's on my page, they know I have sickle cell. So it is a conversation I have pretty early on, but I don't dwell on it. Like, hey, I have sickle cell. Do you know what sickle cell is? And I try to educate them. I don't think it hinders my dating, but I don't know. Yeah. No. Yeah. So with having children, I knew, growing up in an African household, they told me, when you get married, make sure you marry somebody white so kids don't have sickle cell. But that's false. I just had to make sure I married somebody who didn't have sickle cell at all. So not a carrier and not SS. So I knew, because I am SS, every kid I do have is going to be AS, the carriers. So just more mindful in selecting a partner.
How do you guys feel about the term normal? What do you do to live a normal life?
I think that's kind of like what I was alluding to one of my past answers, or when I quoted the word normal. It's very fluid. That answer and that word. We're all just trying our best every single day to get up with the best attitude, the best energy, and to go out and not be able to share a negative side of our lives. Normal, getting up, being able to take care of yourself, make breakfast, go out, work a 9 to 5 like every regular person, and come home with no issue or nothing on your mind. Just trying to have. I'm sorry. just trying to take care of things in a fair manner, just like everybody else. That's just how I feel with the word normal.
I agree. I think normal would just be, I want to be just regular. Like, I want to work out, full workout without me triggering a crisis or the fear of triggering a crisis. I want to go on a roller coaster without, when I get off, something aches. Um, I want to go to work and not worry about having a space heater by my feet or do things with my kids where I'm like, okay, I need a nap. So I want to just be normal in the aspect of I could do what my friends can do. Even if I'm tired, I can keep going without it being the next morning I have to sit down because now I'm sick. So I think that's what normal is for me. Just, yeah.
Os, how did your sister feel before
So
her
she
passing?
was generally like a happy person. She was always happy, always trying to like enjoy herself to the most she can. But her disease did stop her from doing like lots of things that she wanted to do just because of the disease. But for the most part, she was in culinary school, culinary arts. She loved to dance and participate in activities. What would bother her the most is when we would take our yearly trips to Nigeria, and she can't like just walk with us to the market or like do all those type of things because of course it's not she wasn't capable to just be able to tough it out like that. But surprisingly, 2018, the year before she passed, my brother did his Iwakwa ceremony. So we went from the house to the market. We did a bunch of trekking, and like probably every single one of us got sick except for her.
Wow.
Literally everybody. Like we was in PAs drinking palm wine. They mix it with not the water every time. So literally everybody got sick but her. So like the whole entire time, no crisis or nothing.
Wow.
And then we come back and she just goes. This is crazy, but she had an amazing time that last time in Nigeria though.
I've actually had some recent cases. Actually, for the first time I traveled back to Nigeria. It's been about 4 years since I last traveled back home, and I went back to Nigeria in the winter of 2023. And at first, I was having some few good days, and once I finally got back to my fraternal home, I actually contracted a pain crisis in my body that pretty much limited the rest of my trip. So in that instance, it kind of gets a little depressing when you've had instances of just going a streak of not being affected with the blood disorder. And when it comes out of nowhere and it holds you back, sometimes you're not even fully prepared, because I've been going for about 2-3 years without a major pain crisis. And when that came out of nowhere, I honestly wasn't actually prepared. I didn't have all of the necessary treatments or items in place to be able to assist me in case of a crisis did contract.
Are there any things you have to avoid when dealing with sickle cell? Like, do you guys have any triggers?
Stress. No, I'm just kidding. Stress. It sounds crazy, but stress. And stress can be internal, external. So it could be things you're dealing with, family, friends, school, your work, or it could be you just in your head. And you can work yourself into a crisis by just overthinking something, like just stress. So I try to be like a happy medium, try to be happy all the time, or just to be at peace to a lot of things I can control. It's fine. Try to laugh a lot, because the minute I'm stressed, the minute my body feels stressed, I will trigger a crisis.
How about
Yeah.
you, Jerry?
So just to reiterate exactly what Pearl said, definitely stress. I do a lot of meditation to try to just kind of ease myself through my day or get my day started correctly. Because I believe if I'm level headed going into a lot of situations, it helps me to really be able to execute or to be able to solve them adequately without getting too stressed amongst what is developing within the situation. Also, overexertion, not able to work out as normally, or well, I would say the word is normal, as a lot as everybody else or a lot of other individuals. You have to take it easy on the body because your body has to work it's almost like what we've been told. It works twice as hard to pump the oxygen as a healthy individual. And so we got to kind of take it easy. You can't overexert yourself as well.
Follow us to is it Fitastic Day? We are headed to a Lakon. One of my favorite things to do as a warrior is work out, especially if my body is cooperating. I am post almost 15 days of a sickle cell crisis. My body still feels like it's in crisis, not all the way there, but I'm well enough to work out a little. So yeah, follow me. Anyways, we got purple on in support. Let's see your purple, gang. Purple, come on, gangy. Come on, gangy. Let me see your purple tee.
I don't have purple.
That is purple.
Purple.
Your shirt. We have gangy. Everybody got their purple on. Purple.
Each side is gonna be for 7 minutes. Literally 7 minutes. So this is what you want to do. Give your absolute best when you do that 7 minutes. Give it like it's your last time here on the earth. Literally just let it all out. Same thing over here. We need you guys. We're gonna have coaches. Sickle cell awareness. All right, is everyone here familiar with what sickle cell is?
Yes.
Everybody is?
Someone doesn't know about it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to have someone come up front and just share a little bit more about sickle cell. Is that fair?
That's good.
Okay, because I can explain it to you, but it will be the best. And I need to give you the best. All right, so I'm going to invite Pearl. Pearl.
I want you to educate us.
Pearl is a very strong survivor, not only surviving, but striving and thriving with having this, with having sickle cell. And she's been able to get started with her journey and not let sickle cell be something that stops her. So I'm going to have her share a little bit about her journey, herself, and how she's been able to overcome it. All right, cool.
Thank you.
Let's give it. Now, also too, I really didn't even do that justice. And when I really say surviving, striving, and thriving, like I truly mean that.
Yes.
Like I literally, I was not just saying that just because it sounds cool. But when I say that, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Why? Because I've literally witnessed her in several occasions where she's literally had to be taken to the hospital. Right? And she loves fitness, she loves to work out, doing her best to take care of herself, but sometimes she can't even keep going. Right? So when I say someone has bounced back multiple times, she's surviving it, she's striving it, and she's thriving in it. It's like, this is real. You know what I'm saying? This is real. And there's a lot of people out there in the world who are going through this, and some people have given up. You get what I'm saying? But this is one person who I know who's not giving up and who's literally taking it to a whole different level and saying, I'm going to represent all the people who might not have hope. So, Pearl, please. Everybody, one more time.
All right. Good morning. I'm going to make it short and sweet. Hi, I'm Pearl, and I'm a sickle cell warrior. Warrior because I fight every day. If you don't know what sickle cell is a genetic disorder affecting mostly Black and brown people. Hispanics get it. Other countries where malaria is there, they get it as well. But it mostly affects Black and brown people. 1 in 12 babies are born with sickle cell disease. Sickle cell is a genetic disorder where it was supposed to be for a good thing. So if you have sickle cell trait and you live in places where malaria is there, it helps you. The sickling of the blood helps you get rid of malaria, helps you not get sick. But anything that's too much isn't good. So sickle cell disease is when you have a parent, AS, sickle cell trait, another parent, AS, sickle cell trait, have a kid, and you have full-blown disease, sickle cell disease. Me. Sickle cell disease is when our blood cells are supposed to be round, fluffy, circular, flow through your Your cells flow through everywhere in your body, head to toe. Ours is like this. Because it's C-shaped, because it's sickle-shaped, it gets stuck. Wherever it gets stuck, you have a pain crisis. Because blood flows everywhere in our body, we can get pain anywhere in our body, meaning back, hands, feet, neck. Anywhere blood flows, you can have a sickle cell crisis. I am 15 days post sickle cell crisis. I was in the hospital for a week. I've been home for about a week, kind of recovering, kind of getting my feet, getting my groove back. Essentially, that's what sickle cell is. Outside of sickle cell, I love fitness. I love family. I love people. So me being here today and me being healthy enough to participate meant a lot to me. Yeah, that's what sickle cell is. Google it, read more. Yeah.
Quick one, I just got a quick question for you, if you don't mind sharing with us. So, with this crisis and that you experience from time to time, and I know you say you love fitness, how are you able to get through training and having sickle cell crisis? Like, how do you do it? How do you manage yourself to still keep in shape?
Hydration. So hydration is key, even if you don't have sickle cell. Drink your water, drink your fluids, hydrate. And then know your body. So I pace myself. So I'm not gonna hop on 25. I mean, I can, but I'm gonna start with 10s and warm my way up. I am gonna pace myself. So I'm not in competition with the next person next to me. It's me versus me. So if I can do 10, 20 reps of 5s or 10s, I'll do that. Sickle cell is triggered with stress. So that's external stress, internal stress, and your body being under stress. So while working out, if my body gets too stressed or if I'm not having enough oxygen flow through my body, I will trigger a crisis mid-workout. So to combat that, hydration and just pace myself. So if everybody's doing 50, I may stop at 15. I'll keep going, but I'll pace myself. That's it.
Truly appreciate you all. Want to say a huge thank you for everyone for joining us today. We truly appreciate every single one of you. If you all know anyone out there in the world who has sickle cell, please let them know they're not alone. And there are means to get more information, to get more support system. You guys, if you know anybody, you can contact Pearl. She'll be able to give you guys a little more information on how they're.
So I'm going to ask all of you questions, and you'll answer them on your dry erase boards. I'll give you guys about 10 seconds to answer it, and on the count of 3, you all will reveal your answer at the same time. Okay. All right, let's get into it. What 3 countries has the most cases of sickle cell disease? What 3 countries has the most cases of sickle cell disease? 3.
I gotta get one of these right.
I'm from Liberia and Nigeria.
Okay. All right. Okay, so yeah, y'all did really good. Y'all did good. So the answers are Nigeria, India, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Wow, India is shocking.
All right, I'll give you guys 2 seconds to erase, and we'll head to the next question. If you watched it, do you all feel as though the show Super Cell portrayed sickle cell in a positive light? All right, 1, 2, 3. What is a yes and? What does that mean?
So personally, I would just say that I do appreciate it being brought to light. I do appreciate the effort of it being brought to light. I don't think there was enough emphasis on the fact of the individual, I guess, contracting pain crises, so that you can really understand how they, the transformation with their superpower, to know how they evolved into that. I think that it should have a little bit more emphasis on that, to kind of know the triggers or the symptoms, so that it does do a little bit better educational wise for for the consumer. But all in all, I'm happy about the TV series with its efforts shining light on sickle cell.
While you said yes and dot 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 dot, Pearl said yes exclamation 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 exclamation. So Pearl, can we hear your perspective? You like mic drop?
I loved it. So I think it just, because I watched it with my kids, it just had them asking questions like, oh, so if you have sickle cell disease, that means we're the ones with the superpower? Absolutely. You're the ones with the superpower. I think it just had or made people ask questions. What is sickle cell? How come they have this superpower? That's why I liked it. And then they showed the part where his mom had a pain crisis and just how she was crying and how he ran over there. That scene, I loved it. Because you never get to see yourself having a crisis, but seeing that on TV is the first time I've ever seen it. I just like that they showed it. I like that people can ask questions and conversations started because of it.
Yeah, and from a mother's perspective
Yeah.
as well. And we have one more question. One more question. It's draining trying to tell people about sickle cell. Sorry. Is it draining trying to tell people about sickle cell? I know we talked about awareness, preventative, but is it draining to try to tell people about sickle cell? 1, 2, 3. Dr. Roja, you said yes. Can you give us a scenario?
Well, for me, I feel like it can cause a lot of arguments on the back end, feeling like you're going against your colleagues or against people who don't experience sickle cell. When you look at a lot of physicians, you know, a lot of them will never have a sickle cell trait or a family member with sickle cell or a friend with sickle cell. So trying to explain things to them, not only from like a disease perspective, but culturally, you know, just traditions and just breaking things down that you don't think should have to be broken down can get really draining. It feels like you're fighting a battle that, goodness, like, are we having this conversation again? And then sometimes when you're in the break room and then you hear someone come in and make a comment and you're like, do I got to be that person again to like, do I have to be labeled as problematic because I'm standing up for someone that I'm not even involved in their care. I may not even see. So in that sense, it can be draining to feel like you're always on the opposition, always on the defense, always trying to rectify someone else's mindset. Like you're, yeah.
For someone who said no, can you give us?
Well, in my personal experience, it wasn't draining to me because I was just shedding light and just, letting them know about disease, how it affects people, and, just being informative about it. So in that sense, it wasn't draining to me to explain sickle cell.
All right, you guys did really great with the questions. At this time, we do want to open the floor to the audience to let you guys ask any question.
This is my little guy, Major. He was born with sickle cell anemia SS. He is 10 years old. I didn't know I had the trait. His dad didn't know he had the trait. And we found out when I was pregnant with my oldest kid. My oldest kid did not get the disease, but he has the trait. My son had his first crisis at 9 months. Everything they told me to look for in a crisis did not happen. So I didn't know what was going on. And then it hit me like 2 days later and he was still in pain. This is 3 days straight. And we finally took him to the hospital. And then they started the treatment, the IV, took the blood and blood count and Reddick and all that other stuff. He's doing good. As of today, he has not been in the hospital all summer. Knock on wood, because every time I talk about it, we end up in the hospital. But he does not take prescription medication. We are holistic. We've been doing holistic for I want to say 8 years, 8 9 years. We take this herb called Even Flow. Hey, look, he put it in my hand. Um, it's it's a herb. It takes care of crises. They say it gives you energy. It actually helps. I can't see that, y'all. I need my reading glasses. And he's been on it. He's been doing good. Usually when we go to the hospital, how much time do I have? Because I don't want to take up too much time. But usually when we go to the hospital to his regular checkups, they be amazed because he's doing good. You know, he's not on the hydroxyurea and all the other stuff. They had him on folic acid and something else. Um, but it's been 8 years and he's been doing good. I'm so happy. I was just like Pearl when we first started out. When he was on the hydroxyurea, we was always in the hospital, always. And I was just like Pearl. I was like, this can't be my baby's life. This can't be our life in the hospital all the time. But once I connected with a sister in Christ a couple of years ago, she told me about the Even Flow, and we've been on it ever since. So he's been doing good. Only time we go to the hospital when he gets pneumonia. We have issues with pneumonia and constipation because somebody don't eat vegetables and fruit. And he likes to play without drinking enough water. So it's I knew about sickle cell because I was telling Asha I did my high school paper on sickle cell, so I knew about it, but I never knew I would end up with a kid with sickle cell. So, but every day, you know, you learn stuff, and just hearing older people talk about it, it's a it's good because now I know, you know, when my son get old, you know what to expect and you know what to look for as far as going on trips. So yeah, he's been doing good. Like I said, every time I talk about it, we end up in the hospital. But he never had COVID. He never had COVID. Me, I had COVID, and my oldest son had COVID. His dad had COVID, but he never had COVID. So I think it's the herbs. So,
Hello, everyone. I'm Astra. I am the mom of a son. He has sickle cell disease. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 in December. I was running out of space of all the things that came through my mind. You don't remember your first crisis because you were a baby and your mom had to deal with it. That's why you don't remember. My son also didn't have COVID, and everybody have gotten sick around him. COVID did not hit him, so sickle sellers must have a superpower against COVID. Yeah. And I do have a question as adults with sickle cell. How do you advocate in the workplace? Because when you're a child, I used to talk to all the teachers. I used to give them a heads up. I print pamphlets. You know, my son was like, do you talk to the teachers already? Because they're treating me a little bit different, you know. But now he's an adult. He just graduated college. He was feeling bad a little bit recently, and now he has to advocate for himself. But how do you advocate in the workplace? You know, how do you tell them, and what laws do we have to protect us so you don't lose your job?
In regards for advocating for yourself, it's, of course, it's like you were already doing for your son when he was in school, talking to the teachers in advance. You're going to talk to your supervisor in advance. It's better to have an open lane of communication so that you can make sure that in case if something does happen that does prevent you from coming in, you have at least, you know, you've had that serious conversation, that very in-depth conversation with your supervisor, so that y'all are on the same page, so that you don't get lost in the workplace and then, or you know, in this instance of being terminated. Of course, we're very fortunate now in this day and age with work from home. That really helps out a lot of people. So with whatever conditions that somebody may be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, you're able to, you know, be in the vicinity of your home. So that's one benefit to that. Unfortunately, there's not from my understanding or from my time as an advocate, have I heard about any laws that could help to protect us warriors in a sense of catching a crisis while in the workplace. It's just, I mean, honestly, I think people more times than not are going to be good people regardless to you, as long as you create that space. Just let them know you're going to educate people, especially for the majority. People are of different ethnic backgrounds who aren't aware of what sickle cell is. So you just have to get ready to teach. This is why when we or when we just did the last trivia answer now, three of us we said no. I understand from the medical professional standpoint of why she says yes, that she gets tired of having to advocate or having to speak, to educate about sickle cell. That's with her fellow colleagues in the workspace. But us out here, as a day to day, I never have a problem with it. Like, I'll tell you, I'll talk with you for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes just about sickle cell and some of my own pain points or how it affects me. And then as we start to peel back the onion, we start to realize about other relations that we've had or with other family members of people who have sickle cell as well. So you just slowly peel back the onion. We're creating a safe space within our community, creating a safe space within your workplace about the conditions, so that anything will be okay, that everything should be fine.
Thank you. And I have one small comment for us as family members and friends. Um, for us to also understand the person. We recently took a long trip with my son, and I had to tell them, I say, hey, we can't do 8 hours straight. Like, we have to cut this trip in hours. We have to find a place to have dinner. He needs to be able to sleep. And they're like, no, we want to go straight through and make it to our village. In Honduras, we're from Honduras. And I say, no, you don't understand. We can't do a 9-hour trip. We leave Houston at 5 in the morning. We're going to make it at 10 p.m. to our village. This will ruin the rest of our trip. So I just had to stand on my ground and advocate for him and say, we're going to stop mid-trip, we're going to sleep in the city, and then we'll continue our journey the next day so that everyone can enjoy their trip. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to share for especially the young adults pursuing higher education, whether that's bachelor's or graduate degrees. Sickle cell is a disability. I have sickle cell and I didn't see it as a disability for a long time, but plenty of schools have ODA offices that will give you accommodations. So a lot of times with people that get the sickle cell crisis and when they get home from the hospital, they're still suffering from exhaustion. We may not be in pain, but I'm coming off of pain medicine. So I may have sweats. I may go in and out of minimalistic pain, but the point is I'm still recovering to be who I am actually. So when I leave the hospital, that doesn't mean that this is over. I still have another 5, maybe 10 days to really get back to who I am. And then even at that, sometimes you can lose your appetite from all the pain medicines and whatnot. Losing weight and having people speak on that after when you come back into regular society is hard to deal with. But I think my main thing always is if people are curious and they're open-minded and they're ready to hear about it and not be fearful when they're hearing about it, I'm always ready to talk about it. But what I just wanted to say was get to your ODAs, make them give you those accommodations so you don't have to talk with every single professor, because at the end of the day, professors have to respect ODA guidelines and laws.
First off, respect, because I'm coming from Nigeria. And Nigeria, our mindset, they treat this as sicklers. We actually target sicklers. In Nigeria, when I was growing up, they were called sicklers. And to us, that just meant they fall sick a lot. There's no education. So even when I came here, I didn't know what it was. So I'm just giving you full respect. Thank you for this is very important, because I did not know anything until I had a friend that was important to what I do. And every time, randomly, I can't come today. And you were just okay yesterday. And she had to explain it to me every day. And I had to try and understand what it was until Pearl. And that's why I'm here today, because Pearl gave it I would say, a new look to it. Because every day she's talking about it. She's okay, but she's still telling you it could happen anytime. So please, if we can advocate more, do this more because people do not know. And the ignorance is crazy. And I'm coming from the ignorance, so I'm telling you, let's do this more often. And then I asked Pearl, and I want to ask if anybody knows, is there any nonprofit like initiative or something that we can get behind to push this more or anything like that?
Yeah, or just to touch base a little bit to answer that question. Of course, the Mark Thomas Group, but there's also Sickle Cell Association of Houston. They're a nonprofit, community-based organization that advocates for sickle cell, and we continue to try to raise awareness in a multitude of ways on a yearly basis. We have a walk that's coming up on the 21st of September that will be hosted at McGregor Park.
Don't die on me. I said, young black king, don't die on me. You my brother, you my keeper, I need you to keep an eye on me. And no more fighting on the streets, walking around with all this pride on me. Tough for us already, know that you can still rely on me. Please, just stay alive for me. And my young black queens, don't quit now. Yeah, you're the only ones that got us, I could never let my sis down. You've been too strong for too long, yet still you never sit down. Wow, I can make my world come true. All my dreams will see me through. And if that will get me down, my dreams will turn things all around. With a smile upon my face, I can see a better place. Doesn't matter what may come my way. Believe me now, I'll win someday.
I wanted to ask the panelists, is there any last advice or tips that you'd want to give out to people who are here or watching?
For me personally, it's just continue to be an advocate within our community. As we've kind of brought, it is refreshing to hear that some of you who weren't aware of too much information about sickle cell became very educated after this. I need to be a better advocate amongst my friends, as myself, holding myself accountable. But I continue to tell everybody, continue to be a better advocate for yourself. The reason for that is simply because unfortunately, I know there's a lot of things that are a lot of illnesses or ailments that a lot of different ethnic groups or a lot of people have that is spread out. One of the main ones that I know of is breast cancer awareness. That affects a lot of women from various backgrounds. But the one thing I always try to help harp on and tell people within our community is, you know, this disease, quote unquote, is our disease. It doesn't only affect African Americans. It does affect other ethnic backgrounds, but it affects us predominantly the most. So it's important for us to take charge of or take care of ourselves within our community and continue to advocate for the care of each other and other individuals with sickle cell. And that would just go light years just in regards to our progress and the awareness that's being raised within the community.
Thank you, Jerry.
Everything Jerry just said, I will say, just going back to the dating question, just be able to have those uncomfortable conversations. Hey, do you know what AS is? Do you know what SS is? Do you want kids in the future? And even if love wins, you love who you love. Even if you end up with somebody with AS and you're also AS, there's so much technology. You can have a surrogate. You can do IVF. There's so many ways you can make sure you can still be together, have children, and make sure your child doesn't end up with sickle cell disease. So just be mindful in that aspect.
Thank you, Pearl.
All right, so I would say just educate yourself, educate others, find out what sickle cell disease is, how it affects others, and be kind to those. Growing up, my sister was in school together as younger kids. You know, her weight was up and down. Maybe her eyes would be yellow. Kids would tease her, make fun of her, and you don't even know what's going on. And you don't know what they go through at home. You don't know what they feel in their body. So be kind to people. Figure out what's going on. Like I said, educate the community, educate yourself, and just be a better advocate. And like I said, just most importantly, be kind to people. You never know what people go through.
And then my advice as a physician is something that I tell most patients, but I really want to extend it into the sickle cell community, even as people who support our friends and family in the sickle cell community, is to be prepared to be an advocate. If you have a family member or friend that's going into the hospital, don't let them stay it out alone. It helps to have someone at the bedside. A lot of times these patients are in tremendous amount of pain. Like Pearl was saying, they can't really communicate what's going on. And having a family member or anyone at the bedside that has eyes on the situation, that knows that the nurse did not come into this room again, that knows that a doctor has not been in the room for, all day, goes a long way. And even if you can't have that advocate at your side, I also encourage sickle cell patients and families to have some sort of paperwork or a booklet that you can hand off to the physician that's taking care of you. This is what works for me. This is who my hematologist is. This is who my PCP is. This is how my crisis usually look. It looks legitimate, and it's something that they could thumb through. You don't have to explain it to every single provider that walks into the room. You're prepared, they're prepared, they have the tools that you've given them to treat you. So it's something I would really like to see more of in Houston.
Okay, so Ketch was a very loving person. She was very kind, the sweetest person ever. She loved to laugh and she loved to cook. Look at them eyebrows, though. Oh, motherfucking me. Oh. Motherfucking me.
Okay, so wanna wait till this.
See, I don't look like waiting, I don't see. I will never forget the 90s. Many nights I go to
Hey y'all, my name's Jared.
Hey, I'm Pearl.
Thank you for the journey, oh Lord. First school, I'm ever blazing. I roll deep with the Almighty. Be no regular. Can't copy this formula. I ain't faster like you. I did try for myself. I thought you were recording. Can't copy this formula. Money in a filter, don't let them fool ya. Make your rubber, stack your paper. Let them know when you pull up. Man down when I pull up. I'll be a leaker.
The Engine,